Today we're going to review an ultra long range electric bike. It claims it can do 100 to 130 miles. And I actually believe that these numbers are realistic because the battery on this thing is absolutely massive. 60 amp hour 48 volt system. It's about 2,900 watt hours of energy in the gas tank. And it's a folding electric bike, so when you're done using it, it can have a small profile. Could be an excellent delivery driver e-bike. But the big question is the G-Force T7 any good or not? Let's find out. And check it out, here is the G-Force battery, the G unit. Looks like a comfy seat. It's definitely got a long post. Oh yeah, that's a wide seat. Reflector back here. Come on out, bicycle. Wonder what's in the box. Huh, another box. Folding bike pedals and a little G-Force tools. Charger. This is an important one. Ooh, look at this charger. Fancy, fancy. Has a fan on the side, aluminum housing, and most importantly, an 8 amp charger. So 60 divided by 8, so that'd be about 7.5 hours to charge this massive battery from empty to full. And here is the connector for the battery side. Foldable stem. Interesting, it doesn't come on. Let's roll this unit out. Hey, not bad. So as mentioned, G-Force, it is folding. And a typical folding bike would have the battery right here. This appears to be just empty. Interesting, it does have these like little prongs right here. Like if you were gonna add a battery, plus, minus, could you add another battery in there? On this bike, the absolute unit, the G unit of a battery is back here. Here's what it looks like. Listed as a 48 volt, 60 amp hour, 2880 watt hours. 48 volt on full charge is 54.6 volts. Should not charge it any faster than 8 amps, it says. And the maximum discharge current would be 25 amps. 25 times 54, that'd be about 1300 watts peak output. Well, that's what the battery's rated for outputting peak. Depends on what the controller can send. Just see how much this thing weighs. Here's the charge port and the locking mechanism. You can turn a key here to poke that out. Let's see what the scale says it weighs. 26.2 pounds. So while I'm thinking of it, one thing I would like to point out about the weight distribution on this bike compared to another 100-mile electric bike I reviewed, another one with a similar battery to this. Previous one, the battery was like up here on the front suspension, on the front, you know, pretty close up on the front, so a lot of weight on the front. This one's gonna have like most of the weight on the back. And the front wheel is already installed, which is excellent, not a huge deal. But on the last e-bike I reviewed with a huge battery up front, I remember it causing the front suspension to kind of bottom out. So this is a full suspension electric bike, and this one has some basic lock and unlock adjustment for it. Pretty standard amount of travel, and honestly I really actually like that the fender and the light is installed on this thing. So there's really not too much assembly, it appears. And of course, you know, it's the 4-inch wide knobby tread pattern tire, not super street friendly, but you know, if you want to do some off-roading you can. And obviously the 20-inch wheels, and don't touch the charging port with metal objects. Wait, this is a metal object. Let's get this thing going. Fan kicks right on. Red light means it's not charged. What else we got going on here? Not too heavy when you got the battery out. Oh, and a nice little handle right here too. Kickstand. And of course it is full suspension with dual springs on the rear and adjustable. You can rotate these little dials here to dial in your suspension. And that could be beneficial because your body mass as well as the battery sits over that rear suspension. Let's lock this frame closed. Ooh, that's a little scary right there. So this little thing here prevents this from opening. Okay, probably want to tighten it down maybe. And a closer look at that handle. Seat post width is 33.9, which is on the relatively thick side, which in my opinion is a good thing, because if you want to put on a different seat post, like a suspension seat post, you can get a narrower one and like an adapter. It won't limit you, and it does have a quick release. So the rear cargo area is welded onto the frame. It's not like a rack, it is the frame. And there's an area here designated to put like a seat, some sort of rack, as well as a nice little handle to hold on to. This light back here is wired in to the battery. And the brake rotors are 160 millimeter. They are hydraulic disc brakes on both the front and rear. And the motor is listed as a G-Force 48 volt. 20-inch wheel, that's the numbers. 750 watt motor, 1300 watts peak, claims 86 newton meters of torque. We will see. Looking on the website here, it says variable frequency drive high-speed motor makes the maximum nuclear payload of the bike up to 400 pounds. So pedals are plastic and folding to have a lower profile, you know, for storage. It actually does make a difference. Now what exactly is this? So of course, folding handlebars. Dang, that fan's pretty loud. Can you guys hear the charger? The handlebars look like. Here is the hydraulic disc brake levers. It's got rubber ergonomic style hand grips. Thumb throttle is on the left. Pedal assist lights, something. G-Force branded display. Check it out soon. 7-speed shifter and same hand grip and brake lever on this side. Typical 7 gears on the Shimano cassette. Ships with this little guard on there protecting your derailleur from getting damaged in case you knock the bike over. And I should point out these are Kenda tires, which are kind of a little step above than some of the stuff we see on some of these bikes. It's got the reflective thing here. And hopefully they won't get a puncture. Long chainstay to make room for that battery. Which, speaking of battery, let's give it a try. Yeah, I'd say go ahead and snug this thing up when you're riding it. Very secure, it ain't going nowhere. And neither is the battery. Try it out. So basic display, shows its battery life in terms of 5 bars. Tab through the options. Oh, you get light on, off. Slightly dims the display. What's this button? Oh, so you get odometer, max speed, average speed, amp hour. So that means amps. So how many amps is being pulled to the motor? You know how much power you're running basically. And that is your options. So this bike has pedal assist 0, 1, 2, and 3 out of the box. Probably get in there and modify it to 5 if you want. And down here you get a horn. Pretty decently loud horn. Actually, really loud. Brake levers activate the brake light on the rear. And when you turn on the headlight, you also get a rear tail light, as well as the brake light still works. Turn off the light, turn on the light. Light off, light on. So pretty decently bright little headlight. Basic headlight up front here is adjustable. Would be nice if there was a USB charger. I don't think I see that on here. And you can add a front rack here on these mounting points. And if you need to, you can quickly and easily remove the front wheel with the quick release lever. Tires call for 30 PSI max. We'll do 25. So here's what a 6'5" dude looks like on this bike with everything on minimum. Seat is on minimum, handlebars are on minimum, 34 inseam, 6'5", and the weight feels like it's just in the right place on this bike. The last bike I reviewed that had a battery this big, when it was up here, it felt very lethargic. This just feels more right. Doesn't feel that heavy. Raise the seat up to max height. Shake it like a salt shaker. If you actually want to pedal this bike, this one has an adjustable seat, unlike some of these 100-mile electric bikes. And when I say 100 miles, I mean a 48 volt, 60 amp hour, like, 3,000 watt hour battery.
111 pound delivery tomorrow.
New review coming soon. And handlebars on maximum height. Now this feels and looks a little goofy. I don't think I can even get on this thing at 6'5". There we go. So 34 inseam, this actually looks like a pedalable bike, even though it might look maybe a little goofy like this. And standover height for 34 inseam. All right, so let's see what the G-Force T7 will do out of the box. Pedal assist 3, full throttle. So check it out, on throttle only, it says it does 34 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. We'll see how fast it actually goes out there. No more scuff marks, you. Delivery's coming. All right, dudes, let's take the G-Force T7 out for a ride. Of course, we'll start the Strava to check our official distance on this big battery. Let's roll. Of course, the very first test we'll do on the T7 from G-Force is the 20% hill grade test. I weigh 200 pounds, pedal assist 5, and thumb throttle only. Actually, pedal assist 3, because that's max, but thumb throttle only. What kind of torque we working with? Show me the amp hours. So it's giving us 20 amps. Oh, and I don't know why the motor just kind of cut out on me there. I think it's trying to preserve itself a little bit. So we'll give it a start from the stop here. Full throttle, ready, go. So 20 amps of current. Oh, don't close on me. And the motor is pulling, and it just cut power on me because it's trying to preserve itself again. Let's get a bit of a rollout and help it out. Coming in with a little bit of a rollout here. No pedaling still, full throttle. Can it do the 20% grade? No pedaling, 20 amps. And it cut out again. Okay, so a characteristic of this motor, it appears to be some sort of self-preservation thing to not let you draw too much current. Let's just give it a little bit of help here, actually pedaling it, and see if, I'm just lightly pedaling. I'm in gear 7, but it can make it up. We gotta test this a few more times, see what's happening here. I'm gonna downshift here to gear number 3, go into this with quite a bit of a rollout here, about 12 miles an hour, full throttle, not pedaling, 10 miles an hour. So it appears this motor is set up to basically prevent itself from not burning itself up, because there was a 60 amp hour battery pack bike I did review, and the motor fried itself climbing a hill. So this one seems to be set up so that, yeah, it'll just stop giving you power if it's pushing it too hard from a stop. Huh, okay, interesting. We gotta give this thing just a few more runs here. Go, 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 go. So not pedaling, not pedaling, not pedaling, 10 miles an hour. And there we go. So we're gonna get on out here today, take this thing out for a longer ride. I did not put the handlebars on 100% straight. That's gonna bug me a little bit. It'll be fine for the sake of this review. Handlebars, I am noticing, are relatively narrow. This is a folding e-bike to kind of keep it a little more compact. And going over that bump there, I noticed right away, this dual suspension setup on the rear definitely took that impact big time. First impressions of hydraulic brakes, they feel great. And let's just give it full throttle off the line here. So 15 amps, 20 amps. So as long as there's not a hill, it's fine. And this bike is rolling nice and smooth, unlike the last 60 amp hour battery pack e-bike I reviewed. That one had quite a terrible wobble. So this one seems to be rolling a lot better out of the gate. So let's try this thing on pedal assist zeros and see. So no throttle works on pedal assist zero. And how is this bike to pedal? Like say you ran out of battery. I know in my last review, my 100-mile review, people were complaining, oh, I saw you pedal this, you know, here and there. Honestly, dude, like there's really not any sort of like pedal you can really do to add range, especially when you're talking about a 90-mile ride. This thing would be terrible, terrible, terrible if you had to ride this thing with no pedal assist. So put on pedal assist 1, full throttle. Let's see what it does here. It gives you about 20 amps of current. So you get all the power with the throttle, regardless of whether you're on 1, 2, or 3 pedal assist. I think there might have been some sort of cruise control. Let's try out actually pedaling this thing now, see how this affects things. So gear 3 already here. It basically stops helping you at about 9 or 10 miles an hour for pedal assist 1, but still you have access to all that power with the thumb throttle. Then we'll move on to pedal assist 2, and that gives us about 6 amps of current here. So like a lower power amount to help you conserve that range big time, you know, if you're really trying to get big range. And it'll help you up to about 14 miles an hour on pedal assist 2, 14 miles an hour according to there, 12 miles an hour, 13 miles an hour according to GPS. So they're maybe off by about a mile or 2 at this speed. Then let's bump that on to pedal assist 3 and now see what that does. So that gives us about 7 amps of current from a dig here. So it's not like giving us like full power, which is interesting. I would have thought it'd be giving us like full power. Is there a torque sensor on this? No, that's a cadence sensor. So interesting, pedal assist 3, which is the max that is set out of the box. We might have to get into settings there. Let me bump it up to gear 7 here. Cruising on pedal assist 3 is holding us at 19 miles an hour with 7.6 amps of current. And that is not nearly close to max speed. 16 miles an hour, 17 miles an hour according to GPS, 20 according to the onboard. But then if you smash that throttle, then you get 20 amps of current, which brings up your speed even higher, obviously. So how does this thing handle? So the battery is mounted like in the rear. It's kind of like a mid-engine sports car setup, I guess you could, you know, compare it to. I like the way this bike handles compared to the last 100-mile e-bike I reviewed. So all the weight on the last long-range e-bike I reviewed was like right up here. This one is completely hollow. You could hide something in there, and it had like a significant effect on the handling. It made like the front suspension bottom out. Now this front suspension is pretty soft, but there's not a bunch of weight on the front, so at least that's something good. So yeah, definitely significant different handling characteristics. I like the way this bike just handles. It feels somehow like lighter, like just moving it around like this, having like all the weight down low and way back here. I think it makes a way better handling setup. And then you have 2 beefy springs with you know, independently adjustable suspension back there. Front end is like light and nimble. Time to go, let's go. So full throttle here, and oh shoot, seat's not fully tightened down. Oh man, dude, my hurt. Jesus Christ, dude. That thing just like, ow, something like broke loose there. Holy crap, dude, that hurts. So quick warning here for you guys, this was not tightened down all the way on my bike out of the box. I assumed it was. Seat moved on me a little bit. This is just comical how high this seat can go. And I know that there are other long-range e-bikes with a similar size battery that don't have an adjustable seat. I feel like, you know, if you're gonna be on this thing for a while, might be wise to choose function over form. You know, that style might not be as important as being comfy. Also, since this has a normal seat post on it, you could put a suspension seat post on this bike. That way you'll have even more cushion. Not that you really need it, because it does have the rear suspension in the back, and you know, it definitely does its job. You can feel there's some suspension back there. You can definitely feel the rear suspension insulates you from the bumps there a little bit, but if you're gonna be on this thing all day long, give yourself a little suspension seat post, you know, add on to that comfort. Let's get out here on the road and see how fast this thing will go. Basically, I'm giving it a little bit of pedaling here, so throttle will bring us up to. So if you want all the power, you have to use the throttle. Like pedaling won't, it's showing 34, but 35, but it doesn't. We already saw, pull out the GPS here. Got 28 according to GPS, which is pretty darn respectable. 29, that's pretty solid, but the speedometer is not 100% accurate. Merge on over into traffic here, going fast enough to keep up with the cars. So I find it interesting on this bike, settings out of the box wise, that it gives you 7 amps of current, 7.6 amps of current for, that's as much as it'll help you. Now, obviously you could log in, probably change that stuff, but you got to use that throttle to get that full power. So this thing, if you actually pedal it, you could probably end up getting a lot of range out of this battery. One downside of this throttle is, since you have to kind of use the throttle, it could be a little fatiguing on the thumb if you don't change the settings. Get a little lane splitty split in here. It's like a real motorcycle. As far as the metrics on the screen, I can see the screen totally fine. I wish it did give us battery voltage. That'd be really nice to have on a bike like this, because it just gives you the 5-bar readout. We'll measure it on the voltmeter when we get home. Can we see the display through some polarized lenses? The answer is yes, that's good. And unlike the last 60 amp hour battery pack e-bike I reviewed, you can actually read this display. So these are folding pedals, which is nice, you know, if you want to help conserve a little bit of space folding it up, but they do, you know, the folding pedals do feel just a little bit funny pedaling. Now, of course, if you wanted to change that, it's always a very simple thing to change, but we're gonna go ahead and do a 0 to 20 acceleration run here. Pull up the GPS here in my left hand and thumb throttle only. I weigh 200 pounds, ready, go. So it kind of eases on the power there a little bit. Not a super fast accelerator. 10, 12, 20 on there, and about probably 20 on here. So, you know, it's fine. You're not gonna be speed racing on this bike. This thing's kind of more about getting long range at a reasonable power. But I mean, as you can see, compared to some other electric bikes here, this thing definitely has, you know, enough pep. And there is some sort of cruise control on there. I'm not entirely sure how it's activated yet, but we will find out. Oh, you're good, dude. Oh, it's a little chaotic right there. All good. I was in the wrong lane too for the other cyclist. So yeah, I mean, it's got a 25-pound battery. So whenever you start adding a lot of weight to a bike, you know, you can feel it in the performance, you know, handling wise, 0 to 20 speed wise. But as I mentioned, I really like where the battery's placed on this one, because it still feels like relatively like agile. Feels like it's geared in a way that right at about 23 according to here, that's about, you know, as fast as I would feel comfortable wanting to like actually pedal. Additionally, since it does give you 7 amps of current, that's about all you're realistically going to be able to achieve about, you know, this speed. Got the fenders on there, so the little bit of water here, hopefully water is getting ate up. Another thing about these relatively narrow handlebars would be nice for like lane splitting, you know, like New York City delivery driver kind of. You know, I could see this being a great, you know, Uber Eats kind of delivery driver e-bike with this massive range, and it's foldable, so you can bring it in an apartment and fold it away nicely at the end of the day. And the narrow handlebars will give you a decent amount of clearance between cars. What's the parking rate today? $18. Not for e-bikes though. Lifeguards checking something out. So we'll get out there and try this bike in the sand here in just a little bit. I don't think people are really buying this thing to ride in the sand, but we're gonna try it, believe me. So let's see what the pedal assist lag is like. Not pedaling, power. So ramps on, nice and gentle. Not pedaling, power. So it ramps on about quarter second, right away pretty much. Not pedaling, and yeah, it ramps on the power pretty quickly there. So pretty much not really any true lag on this cadence sensor. You can tell this thing's just set up to be like a nice gentle cruiser that's gonna allow you to sip on that power and just sip on that battery and get huge range. But of course you can't smash on that throttle here and drain the battery a little quicker. Looks a bit wild over there. We're gonna have to check it out. So based on my previous experience, I don't know if it's gonna be able to do this hill. We'll do it with a big high-speed rollout. Yeah. And no, motor just turned off. So yeah, it's really preserving itself, making sure you're not gonna burn it up and do something stupid and break your motor, which is a good thing in my opinion. Probably not gonna do too well out there, but we'll try it. How does it feel sitting down on the seat through the grass here? Because this is some pretty rough grass. So yeah, you can feel the rear suspension on this thing is doing its job. Decent. Oh, some sort of like workout competition. We're getting our own workout right here on this bike today. That looks fun too. All the workout stuff going on here.
Working on these power snatches, trying to get that barbell from the ground.
Hey. How much weight is that? Like 135? Hey, she's killing it. Dude, she's like she's not even bouncing it off the ground. Can I try one? Thank you. So I like that despite how big this bike is, how big the battery is, easy to maneuver around. Oh my goodness. This is ice baths. These two just look so chill in there. So one thing I'm noticing about this bike is it does not have a brake cutoff sensor on the left side. Let's see, what are they throwing out here?
Oh, you're so close!
No brake cutoff sensor on the front brake, which is the left handle, but on the right, there is a brake cutoff sensor. I don't know if that's just this bike or if that will be all bikes that ship. I don't have a problem with it, just something I noticed, unusual. Dude, I am so curious to see if this bike is gonna be able to go out here on the sand. We'll go ahead and downshift it a few gears out here. Rear suspension is definitely doing its job, going over these bumps, definitely eating them up really darn well. And we have it on pedal assist 3. I don't have high confidence based on the hill test, but let's go ahead and see how we do. Oh, it's actually kind of going through here a little bit. And I feel like the motor's probably gonna turn off on me. Yep, that's about all we got. It'll push it through a little bit here. I don't know if I wanna go out here really. I'm gonna end up getting stranded out here. So this is actually the first motor I've seen that will actually basically cut off for us so it doesn't burn the motor up. Like if it's working too hard at basically when the motor stopped. Let's see what we can do just riding along on the side of the boardwalk here on flat sand, full speed. Oh, thumb throttle, my thumb came off. But yeah, kind of getting stuck and then it just turns off. It's like, hey, don't destroy me, bro. Don't destroy me. But it's fine here. Basically, don't buy this bike if you want to go riding out on the sand. Bro, this dude on the unicycle is whipping. Gosh, dude, what if he hit a little sand patch out here? So let's see how this thing handles a little bit easier of a hill. This is about a 12% grade. We'll try the California incline here in just a few. Put it on pedal assist 3 here, rolling in at about, well, 10 miles an hour according to this, and I'll do thumb throttle only. It's really interesting to see. Will this be able to climb it? We're doing 8 miles an hour, 7.9, 7.8, 7.6, 7.8 miles an hour, pulling 20 amps of current. So as long as you're going above like 8 miles an hour, the motor's not gonna turn off on you. It's pulling us up the hill. Throttle only, I weigh 200 pounds. So I mean, it can do hills for sure. Let's try something else here. Really just genuinely concerned about the performance of this thing for climbing hills. So going from about 5 miles an hour here, it's 3 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour, full throttle, 4 miles an hour. So it's pulling us up the hill for sure. Gaining speed 5 miles an hour, 5.6 miles an hour, 20 amps of current, still gaining speed. So I mean, I think this is about a 12% grade, but the 20% parking garage hill grade, that's where it kind of started to, hit its wall. Now my parking garage hill test is like really freaking steep. But yeah, that's the hill performance. It's not bad at all. Honestly, it's really not. If you're looking for like an extreme hill climbing performing e-bike, this probably shouldn't be your first option. This is more of a long range e-bike. Can you see the light going through this parking garage? Yeah, there it is. You see it on the ground there? You can see the light in broad daylight on the ground a little bit there. And it does have a pretty bright rear tail light as well. All right, dudes, we'll run the T7 from G-Force up the California incline. 12% grade. It's about an 85-foot climb. Yeah, dude, there is cruise control on this thing. So that is awesome. I guess you just hold the throttle down, or I don't know, but it's I'm not doing anything and this thing is going 27, 28 miles an hour. All right, so going over that bump, man, you got to really appreciate not having the battery up on that front suspension, because I could feel the suspension like almost bottomed out, but if the battery was up on front. So we're on pedal assist 2, coming around the loop-de-loop here. Let's see if it can get started from a stop here, because that motor is giving us a little bit of an issue. Nah, it's totally good, dude, totally good, man. So this bike handles quite nicely here. So starting from a stop on the California incline, we'll do full throttle, ready, go! And motor is fine. It just starts pulling us up. So 12% is the average grade of the California incline, hitting about 10 miles an hour. 15, got the GPS out here, 15 miles an hour, and she's like all over the road here. I'm gonna go way over here. 16 miles an hour, pulling 20 amps of current, just fine. I wonder if we're on cruise control. I'm tempted to let off. Oh no, we're not cruise control right now. So 17 miles an hour, 17 miles an hour, and it's still pulling us up just fine, holding about 15, 16 miles an hour for the California incline. And just a moment ago, we were down there on the bike path by Santa Monica Pier. So the bike is still showing 5 out of 5 bars, but we're gonna have to pull out the voltometer and check the official voltage. Showing 37 miles an hour going down the California incline. Now it's time to start thinking about the brakes on this thing. They are hydraulic disc brakes. They feel nice. They've got big rotors and they feel strong and powerful. Makes all the difference for the handling, having that battery in the rear versus the front. I'll give it a quick little brake test here from about 20 miles an hour. So this is 20 and yeah, brakes are fine. I mean, you can tell the bike has some mass to it. Obviously, it's got that huge 25-pound battery on the back. Brake levers feel fine to the touch in my hand, and they are hydraulic brakes, so they're smooth and linear. Give it a second brake test here from 20. Oh, cruise control. Yeah, so yeah, these brakes are actually really good, and power transfer is good. The tires stick to the pavement pretty well. Actually, really well. Final thoughts on the G-Force T7 long range e-bike. I mean, this has the 60 amp hour, 48 volt battery, same size battery that I tried, and actually I rode a bike with this size battery 90 miles without basically pedaling hardly at all and going to the Hollywood sign. Now, if I had to compare, you know, I'd say you'd get similar range to that bike. If you guys want to see me do a long range, let me know. If I had to choose between that bike and this one, I'd certainly choose this one for a couple of different reasons. One, the weight distribution. I think it makes a huge difference having the battery mounted down here low and in behind compared to up here. Just totally changes the weight feel of the bike. And then two, this motor, which might not seem like a good thing, will cut off on you while if you start to do too steep of a hill. On the previous one I reviewed, I actually pretty much burned up the motor and destroyed it. This is not good. It's only under acceleration, so it's like something with the doing too steep of a hill. So this one will kind of cut out and prevent you from damaging it. Other than that, you know, this one is a foldable electric bike, so it'd be perfect for, like, you know, somebody living in a city, got a small space, do some long, you know, deliveries or something, fold it up when you're done, put it away. Thumb throttle is not my favorite. I can live with it. Another thing I can live with is the seat on this bike is comfortable, and you could swap out that standard size seat post for, you know, a suspension seat post if you want something extra cushy. Rear suspension is fine. It is adjustable. For the money, I think it's a pretty good bike, and any sort of discount code I can offer you will be linked in the description box below this video. And if you did want to buy this bike, it would help support my channel if you bought through the link below this video. Let's head on home, see what kind of final range, final voltage on this battery when we get home. Killing it on the scooter. See ya, sucker. Give me some water. Bro, these people have a freaking leash on their rollerblades. Dudes are crazy. All right, dudes, just rolling up to the neighborhood here. 18 miles on today's route, average speed of about 10 miles an hour, almost 2 hours of ride time, still showing 5 out of 5 bars on the battery, so not much help there. We'll bring it inside, get it on the multimeter, see what the official voltage and percentage readout is. And while riding this bike home, it occurred to me that this thing weighs 79 pounds compared to the last bike of this battery size I reviewed, the 60 amp hour 48 volt battery, the other 100 mile e-bike. That one weighed like 112 pounds according to the website. That is a significant weight difference. This thing weighs like 40 pounds less. So taking that into consideration, you know, 40 pounds is significant on an electric bicycle. I would say you should get significantly more range on this bike. So of the two 60 amp hour battery packs I reviewed so far, I think this one honestly just makes the most sense. Features wise, everything, you know, I've said in this video. Anyway, let's bring it inside and get it on the voltmeter. So if you do want to grab this bike, buy it through the link below. That would support my reviews here on this channel. Get yourself a little discount too. That rear tail light is pretty bright. Out the way. Big battery. And right here it says, do not touch charging port with metal objects. Showing 52.8 volts. My goodness, that is like very full. 54.6 volts is fully charged. This is, I mean, dude, this is somewhere between like 85 and 90%. 88%, dude. Basically, this thing can get absolutely insane range. I would say at least 100 miles, probably more. 18 miles took about 12 or 13%. Do the math on your own. Just buy this bike if you want a long range bike. Click that link and buy it.